welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Okay, in this video, you're gonna see. I'm super excited about this. Okay, I just realized I haven't addressed the elephant in the room. This mess. Okay. So hi, I'm orange now. Just gonna throw that out there. Hi, my name is Candace and I'm your host. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. In today's video, I'm hype. I'm super hype because I just finished this book, and so it's like freshy fresh in my mind. And so I hope that I'm not going to fuck this up too badly because, I mean, who are we talking about? So if you've watched any of my most recent videos, you will have seen a little review that I did for a book by author Lauren Smith called Gregory. Okay, that's how they say it in the audio version. So that's the way I'm going to say it from now on because that's just the way it is. Okay. The book that we're going to be talking about today is the second book in the series, which is the Brothers of Ash and Fire series. This is book 2. And the name of this book is called Mikhail. Okay. I want to say it like how they said it in the thing, and I think it was like Mikhail. I can't, but you get me. The book, and I didn't know this until after as I was doing my little prep work, which is the most minimal of prep work, as you know, that allegedly this book only has 228 pages. How? How does it only have 220? Okay, I've talked about this before, and you know how I feel about like full-length novels versus like novellas and like where my line is. 228 pages is like bordering on like novella length. It's like in that gray area in between. This book felt like 400 pages, but not like a bad 400 pages, like a whoa 400 pages. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in it. I was like in it to win it. So I don't know if you can tell, but this video is going to be pretty aggressive. I'm going to be like leaning in a lot and like making eye contact with the camera, which I never do. I always look at myself when I'm recording because I'm vain. So that's why sometimes like it'll always look like I'm looking slightly to the side instead of, hey girl, what's up girl? I'm sorry, but I will be doing this sometimes because I'm going to get really aggro about this review. Okay. So 228 pages. You can currently get this book for your Kindle or Nook for the price of $3.99. Not terrible. Pretty good price. You can get the paperback on Amazon for $10.99. I'm assuming it's going to be a trade paperback, like one of those large ones, which is fine. I like those. I checked Barnes & Noble's for their paperback price, $18.99. I was like, child, please. Like, I'm putting money in, like, what's his name's pocket? Like, Bezos or whatever. Take my cash because $10.99? That's a fucking bargain. You can get this book in hardcover, which actually, now that I think about it, I would love to see how this book comes out in hardcover because the cover for this book, like Gregory's was good because like he wears like it's like a man's 3-piece suit joint at the top half, and then like the color scheme got me because of like purpley blue color, and like this cover is like green, and it's like the model that was chosen is like, you know, and yeah, it grabbed me. Like everything about this book just grabbed me. Okay. So I think a hardcover edition of this would look really nice on my bookshelf. I'm looking around for my husband, make sure he's not. I can't say it too loudly because like I can't tell him that I'm going to spend $27.99 on a book. But yeah, so I'm going to read you guys the blurb and then we're going to break it down. And I'm going to give you my rating. And then I'll do my closing spiel and you know how I go. So, the blurb for this says, he's a dangerous jewel thief. She's the gem expert standing in his way. Mikhail Baranov knew he effed, and this, I don't know if the author wrote this blurb or like if it was like done by like a ghostwriter or whoever. But they literally put he effed up, like they didn't want to say fuck in the Amazon blurb. So it's like the capital F apostrophe lowercase ed, he effed up. He done effed up. But I thought that was very funny when I read it. So I knew you guys would find that. You'd find that amusing. Okay. So Mikhail Baranov knew he effed up. 500 years ago, his one job as part of a Russian family of imperial dragon shifters to protect the family hoard of jewels, but a dazzling virgin who just happened to be Elizabeth I, the Queen of England, tricked Mikhail and stole the jewels. But now he has a chance at redemption. The jewels have been found 5 centuries later. The only problem is they've been turned over to gemologist Piper Linwood. She's sexy, smart, ripe for seduction. But if centuries of exile taught him one thing, it's never trust a beautiful woman. Piper Linwood can't wait to get her hands on her latest project. But hot damn, she never expected how badly she'd want to get her hands on the dark, brooding man she sees at the museum. Of course, she didn't know he was a jewel thief or a dragon shifter, but all that becomes abundantly clear when he takes the jewels and her, then flies, yes, flies, to his ancestral castle. While all the alpha male stuff is what fairy tales are made of, and frankly, sexy as hell. The fact Piper disappeared with Mikhail has her labeled as his partner in crime. Now she must choose. Will she betray him to save her career? Or will she stay and become the dragon's greatest treasure? Okay. 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 Rein it in. Okay. 2 main characters, Mikhail and Piper. Okay. In the beginning of the book, the opening scene is like way back in the Elizabethan era, like 1400, 1500 something. Mikhail is going to visit the like intimate bedchamber of Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, right? He fancies himself in love with her. He thinks that she's in love with him too because like she's putting on, she's putting on that facade, if you will. And he goes in and she essentially, long story short, because I know that I'm going to get so animated and I'm already 9 minutes in and I got to crank this out. So long story short, Elizabeth pretends to be in love with him, betrays him, drugs his drink with like a truth serum and like a weakening serum that basically makes him a mortal man for a couple days, instead of the dragon shifter that he really is. She drugs him to find out where this cache of jewels is hidden. There is a stash of jewels, very big gemstones, pause, that were used as part of a treaty between the Baranov clan and a clan of English dragons. And basically the English dragons gave the jewels to the Baranovs and they, it was like, now they're theirs, right? So Elizabeth wants the jewels because she believes that they're rightfully hers because they used to belong to her father before they were given over to the English dragons, right? Okay. Which there's a guy that's like the head of the English dragon clan who's like I wanted his book too, but we'll see what happens to that. So she drugs him, he gives up the information about where the jewels are, and then she throws him in prison. So she throws him in like a dank dungeon cell with iron bars, and in this realm, iron is the one metal that dragons can't like bend to their will or melt or whatever. So he's trapped and he stays there for the next like 40 years or some shit like that. Then Elizabeth dies, and he manages to get out. But before she dies, she comes to the realization that basically that like she fucked him over and she feels really bad about it, and that she was tricked into doing so by the magician guy who basically, or like they were like people pulling her strings like puppet. You know how it was back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like advisors and shit pulling strings to get you to do what they want, even though you're the monarch, right? So essentially she comes to the realization that she did him dirty, and she says, I'm going to move you to much nicer accommodations, but you're still going to be a prisoner because I can't just come out and say that you're free to go, because, you know, you'll want those jewels back and you'll wreak havoc on my whole kingdom and blah, 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 blah. Okay. In his place, she throws the dude who was pulling the strings with the magician, like that created the concoction that made him weak and whatever. She throws that guy, whose name, his last name is, what's his name? Conrad Sinclair. He's the villain. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert, he's the villain. So she throws him in there because she's like, you tricked me and you manipulated me and whatever. You're in there. Okay. So he rots in jail. Mikhail's rotting in a nicer jail, but still in a jail. And Elizabeth dies. Mikhail gets out. We don't care about what happened to the other guy because he's not important, right? He is important. So, Mikhail goes back, well, attempts to go back to his Russian family, who are very proud dragon shifters. Mikhail's father at the time banishes him and says you cannot return to the clan until you've gotten these jewels back because you're basically like a disgrace. So Mikhail has been essentially banished and living on the coast of Cornwall in England for the last like 500 years or whatever it is. Now, on the news, big story, that a giant treasure trove of jewels has been unearthed under some like stodgy old English couple's home, like a private home. Anyway, Elizabeth hid the jewels. I mean, then when she died, they were just kind of lost. And so now they've been unearthed. And Mikhail's like, oh shit, now's my chance to get those back and go home because I want to go home. I miss Russia. I miss my brothers. He has two brothers, Grigory and Rurik. Grigory's book I have already reviewed. You can go back and look for that if you want. You should do that. And Rurik's I have not read yet, but I will. And so, yeah. So he's like, I got to get these jewels back or to redeem myself or all is lost, right? So come to find out that the jewels have been inspected and they're being appraised and they're going to be auctioned off by an auction house / museum type of situation. Insert Piper. Piper Linwood is a gemologist, and she basically came from nothing and worked her way up to being to this like lofty position that she's now acquired this job where she's like appraising and trying, like assisting in the sale of this amazing treasure trove of jewels, right? So Mikhail, they're having like a viewing by invitation only, like Ritz and Glitz can come look at these jewels that are now on display while we're waiting for the auction to happen in a couple of days or whenever, right? So Mikhail shows up. Piper's immediately like, who dat? And he shows up with the leader of the British clan of dragons, who coincidentally is quite taken with Piper's partner, who she works with. I forget her name. What the fuck was her name? Lori? No, I can't remember. Anyway, this book isn't about her, so we're gonna skip over that. So yeah, so Mikhail is immediately attracted to her. Piper is a virgin. In this realm, the dragon shifters are not like, it's not like werewolves where they're bitten and they become like one being. This is almost like as if the human body has been possessed or is the host of the dragon. So they're like two separate entities housed in one being, okay? So you have like the human, and then you have the dragon. The dragon is in the human, but sometimes the dragon will take control, and the dragon has a mind of its own, and it has, okay? So the dragon is immediately like, virgin alert. Like, virgin alert. He can smell her. And that's like a thing for these dragons in this world that Lauren has created, that dragons can, like virgins are their kryptonite, basically. So coincidentally, she's a virgin. She wants to be like dominated. Like that's her shtick. You know what I mean? Like even though she's a virgin, when she does give it up, she wants it to be with someone who's going to take control and who's going to, like, alpha male. Okay. So, instant attraction between the two of them. And, you know, they have like a little bit of banter, and then he disappears and she's like, okay, well, you know, whatever. They see each other again later on in the night, you know, at the event. And they have like a little thing. They have like a little schmooch in like a side room of the auction house / museum place. And Mikhail's like, listen, wait up for me tonight. Like, you're spending the night here because you have to protect the jewels and whatever. Wait up for me. I'm gonna come back for you, girl, and we're gonna do some dirty shit. She's like, okay, yes sir, right? Low key at the party, what the fuck was his name? Conrad Sinclair, who is the villain, is also there, and he's scoping the jewels and plans on, in conjunction with this skeevy other little dude, to abduct not only the jewels but also Piper, because he finds her attractive as well. So the thing ends, the party ends. Piper like goes up to bed and whatever, and she's like, okay, maybe he's not coming back. Mikhail, in conjunction with the British dude, the British dragon, comes back, and they break in, and he wakes Piper up, and he's like, I'm gonna mesmerize you, because that's another thing they can do. It's almost like in vampire novels when they can trance you into doing stuff that they want you to do. Like, apparently, like, dragon shifters in these novels have that ability as well. So he like ensorcels her, for want of a better term, to be chill and help me steal these jewels. So, you know, she's like, okay. Yeah, okay, yes, sir. So, she helps him into the safe. She has the combo. She lets him into the safe. She gives him the jewels that are nicely boxed up and ready to go, and helps him load them into the car. She starts to snap out of her little entrancement, and he basically like shoves her in the car and kidnaps her. Okay. They go then to his house in Cornwall. She's attracted to him, and like she wants him, and they start like this like affair type situation. She eventually does find out that he is a dragon shifter. He shows her these letters from Queen Elizabeth, proving that the jewels were his to begin with, and that she stole them. And so he's trying to tell her, like, listen, these were mine to begin with. And I really didn't do anything wrong. I stole them, but they were mine, so can you really steal something that already belongs to you? And I want you to understand, because P.S. girl, you're my true mate. and like you're the one. My dragon knows it and I know it. He thought Elizabeth was his true mate. And I think maybe she was, but then when she died, like normally when the dragon has a true mate and you go through like the bonding ritual, which is like begins with like a kiss and then leads up to like over the course of many, sexy times, they become like almost like strings, like small, they start to weave together and then you're bonded, right? If one dragon dies, the other one will soon follow. Okay. He thought Elizabeth was his true mate, and maybe she would have been if he had fully bonded with her, but he didn't. And so when she died, he did not. So now he's been gifted a new mate whom he recognizes by scent in Lauren. I was going to say in Lauren. Can you imagine? In Piper. And he really wants her to understand why he took the jewels. Over time, she does understand, and she ends up falling for him. But she comes to the realization that by bonding with him, it will lessen his life because she's immortal. She's a human, and when dragons bond with humans, it basically ties their life to the human's life. So if she only lives to be 70 and she dies, he will die as well. So like if you're truly in love and you want to be with your mate, like that's a sacrifice that you're willing to take. And that's a sacrifice that Mikhail will gladly give up because he wants to be with Piper, right? She has one of those like come to Jesus moments where she's like, what am I doing? I can't take a dragon shifter who's could potentially live for 5,000 years or however long and shorten his lifespan to virtually nothing. Like I can't let him make that sacrifice. So she takes the letters. Oh, P.S. By this point, she's a criminal. They've uncovered one hidden camera that the British dragon did not put on a loop to hide the fact that Piper assisted him, Mikhail, in stealing the jewels. And the authorities now have this video that showed that it appears as if she was willingly helping him cart the jewels outside, right? So, yeah. Everything's diluted. Everything is so like, what's it? Convoluted. That's what word I'm calling. So by this time she's like a criminal. And she's like on the run. He's vowing like, I'll do whatever I have to do. I know people in high places. I'll do whatever I have to do to make sure that you don't get in trouble for this. You don't go to prison and you don't lose your career and that kind of thing, right? Very, very sweet of him. She doesn't buy it. And she says like, no. So she like creeps out when he's asleep, takes the letters so that she can prove that the jewels were his and that he never stole them. And basically get him off the hook, and she's leaving him so that he can go like mate with another dragoness and have little drakelings and etc., etc. And she's saving him from a life of like a short-term life, right? Very noble, very self-sacrificing. On the way, she is waylaid and subsequently double kidnapped, like because she had already been kidnapped by Mikhail. Now she's being kidnapped by Sinclair, who is basically going to hold her for ransom, that he wants the jewels in exchange for Piper's life, right? Mikhail is immediately like, take him. I don't care. Take him. Like, Piper's everything to me. And by this point, I was like, boy. So he agrees to the meetup. He brings the jewels, all except for one, which was not like the information about this one particular jewel, which is called the Dragon Heartstone. And it's a giant ruby that was allegedly like imbued with some kind of magic, but they're not sure what kind of magic it has. That piece was not released to the public. So he has it, but he's not turning it over to Sinclair because Sinclair doesn't even fucking know about it. Like, why would I give you something you don't even know about? So he goes to like this sketchy warehouse, whatever, to meet up with Sinclair to exchange the jewels for Piper. He gets there. Sinclair, of course, obviously, piece of shit, like, tries to double cross, right? Tries to double cross him and tries to kill Mikhail. And Piper jumps in the way and ends up, like, taking a shank for him. Mikhail still gets shanked, but Piper, like, makes, like, a giant sacrifice, like, the ultimate sacrifice for him, right? Mikhail, like, rages out and Sinclair's done for, like, we know that. But Piper's dying. And he somehow instinctively knows to use the dragon heartstone. And he uses it essentially to place a dragon inside Piper, which is essentially close to the ending of the book. So I just spoiled the ending, and I'm sorry for that, but not really sorry, because I feel like you knew what you were getting into when you watched this video. So essentially the dragon heartstone has had a dragon spirit slumbering inside of it for God knows how many years. And by using it to revive Piper, he has imbued her with this gorgeous white dragon that she eventually changes into and stuns everybody. And it's like, oh my God, so she's so gorgeous. So now she will live as long as him, and they are tied together and they are one being. And I just fucking can't. Like, I can't. And yeah, so that's that on that. Is that enough? I don't think I looked at directly at the camera enough during my tirade. So yeah, for the rating for this book, I gave it, and you're gonna laugh again because I had to bump it up a little bit. I give it a 9.25. 9.25. So anyway, yeah, I would highly recommend that you pick up this book. I would highly recommend you read this series. I've not gotten to Rurik, and there's also a fourth book, which I believe is called The Last Baronoff Dragon. And it's the story of the three brothers have an uncle who went searching for something along like 500 years ago and was lost, and they presumed him dead. And it's his book. So if you like the idea like of an older dude, like an older hot dude, like he's not really old because they like stop aging like 30 something, but you know, if that's your jam, you might like that. But I really enjoyed Grigori. I enjoyed his book a lot. I thought it had a really good like premise. I really enjoyed the author's writing style, but something about this one, every element of it was just like sucked me in immediately. Mikhail is so like broody, but like, oh my God, I can't. And like the love scenes were just like, I've talked about this before. I love books that have alternating POVs, or even a book. I think I would be down for a book that was from just the man's POV. I feel like I might be into that, because when I read a book that has like alternating points of view from the male and female characters, during the portions for the male characters, I get so like hot under the collar, right? Because I know what he's thinking and I know what he's feeling, and it's like a glimpse into the male mind, and it's just like, yes. So yeah, that's it. That's all I can say. Like, this book, everything about it, like, he's stealing jewels like a fucking cat burglar, and like she's like a gemologist and she's obsessed with like treasure, and like it had like that element of like treasure hunter adventure type whatever, but then there was also like broody Russian dude, and that's my kryptonite. Like, virgins are dragons' kryptonite, broody Russians are Candace's kryptonite. Keep that in mind, authors. If you're watching this, not authors, obviously, because no authors watch this. If you're watching this, people in YouTube land, and you have recommendations for broody, damaged, possessive Russian alphas, put them in the comments, because you can never have too many. I'm just saying. So yeah, that's that. I'm pretty sure this video is going to be like half an hour. It is what it is. If you like me and you like my channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you do subscribe, make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications when I upload a new video. You can also keep up with updates for upcoming videos, giveaways, things like that by following me on social media. I do have a members only Facebook group, an Instagram, and a Twitter devoted to this channel. I will link them all down below in the description box, and I'll put a little banner here for you guys to see. So yeah, I think that's it. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next one, which will or will not be a review. I don't know. We'll see. I love you guys so much. Bye. Good enough with the good enough with the good enough. I feel like I need to be brighter to kind of hide some of my blemishes and stuff. Let me see if I can turn this up. There we go. It's a little overcast today, so we ain't got no natural light. That's okay though, because Candace doesn't look good in natural light. It's the first in her Brothers of, I think it's like Ash and Fire. Okay, Brothers of Ash and Fire book. Are you serious? And of course the fucking remote doesn't work. Okay. Okay. I just realized. I still feel really dark. Why do I feel so dark? Should I be this dark? I don't know. What the fuck is happening? Okay. What was I talking about? I think did I just do my intro? Is that all? Okay. Welcome back to the Buzz was my boy. Okay. If you've watched any of my previous videos, like recent previous videos, this is really bothering me. This is really like, why are you such a bastard? Okay. Who just happened to be the Elizabeth? Did I fuck that up? Who just happened? Okay, I may be a little bit more crooked now because I had to take my phone down because I ran out of fucking storage. Okay. Did I do the rating? I did the rating, right? Did I do the rating? Everybody was kung fu fighting. So satisfying. I still have 2 more of these to do, and I'm gonna fucking run out of storage again. Okay.